Hi, I'm Teacher Marie. Today we're having several exercises to quickly review Lesson 1 and prepare for Lesson 2. In this exercise, I'll show you a scrambled spelling of word and a photo to help you recall the vocabulary. A time device will appear on the screen, and I hope we're able to get the correct answer once the timer is done. And in this example, the correct vocabulary word is yes, it's informal. This photo shows it's an informal meeting, and they are wearing informal clothes. After which, you will have to repeat the word aloud 3 times. Repeating the word aloud is important, as this makes you hear how the word feels and feel how it sounds. If you can't hear it, you won't understand it. So, let's start. Our next vocabulary word is yes, you got it right. It's ingredient. Now, say the word aloud 3 times. Ingredient. 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 This looks like a perfect ingredient for a salad. And our next vocabulary is I hope you're thinking the correct answer. And yes, it's precise. Let's say the word 3 times. Precise. 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 Great. Instead of saying exact, we can say precise. Moving on to our next vocabulary. It's traditional. Now say the word aloud 3 times. Traditional. 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 The ladies are wearing traditional clothes. And our next vocabulary is yes, the word is suppose. Let's say the word 3 times. Suppose. 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 Great job. I suppose he likes me? Well, moving on to our next vocabulary. You got it right. The correct vocabulary is turn into. Now let's say it together. Turn into. Turn into. Turn into. The larva has turned into a colorful butterfly. Now let's proceed to the second exercise. This exercise requires you to recall the patterns you have previously learned. Choose the correct response to the given questions. Let's say your classmate is inviting you to eat out. What should be your response when he asks you, where do you want to have lunch? Should you say, is there anything you don't like eating? I suppose I want to try a local restaurant. Or, that's not the way I am. The correct response to the given question is, let's read it together. I suppose I want to try a local restaurant. And in the second scenario, your mom is asking you, what do you most enjoy cooking? What should be your response? Should you say, what I most enjoy cooking are those traditional dishes? That's not the way I am. Or, I suppose I wanted to see the sun. Yes, the correct response is, let's read it together. What I most enjoy cooking are those traditional dishes. Now let's get ready for lesson 2. Before we listen to the recording, Let's take a sneak peek at these vocabularies. The first one is public. The word public means something involves people in general. Together, let's say public. Public. This Monday is a public holiday. It means most people do not have to go to work or school. Let's read it together. This Monday is a public holiday. And next, guide. A guide is a book that gives information about something. Let's say that aloud. Guide. Guide. Caesarea is in all the British restaurant guides now. Let's read that together. Caesarea is in all the British restaurant guides now. And our next vocabulary is raw. Raw food is a food that is eaten uncooked or that has not been cooked enough. Together, let's say raw. Raw. Sushi is often made of raw fish. Come on, let's say it together. Sushi is often made of raw fish. And next, absolutely. Absolutely means totally or completely. Let's say it together. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Spanish is absolutely honest about everything. Again, the Spanish is absolutely honest about everything. And the next word is honesty. Having honesty means you are being truthful and you refrain from lying or cheating. Together, let's say honesty. Honesty. I think I prefer that honesty because it helps us to know what people like. Let's repeat it together. I think I prefer that honesty because it helps us to know what people like. Once again, let's say these words aloud. Public. Guide. Raw. Absolutely. Honesty. Now, let's listen to this recording and see how these words used.
What's the best thing about running a restaurant?
I think the best thing is making people happy. That's why even after all this time, I still enjoy it so much.
And the worst thing?
That's easy. It has to be the long hours. This week, for example, I'm cooking nearly every day. We usually close on Sundays and Mondays, but this Monday is a public holiday where lots of people want to eat out, so we're open.
Caesarea is in all the British restaurant guides now. Does that mean you get a lot of British customers?
Yes, we get a lot of British people, especially at the weekends. But then we get people from other countries too.
And are the British customers and the Spanish customers very different?
Yes, I think they are. The British always say that everything is lovely, even if they've only eaten half of it. The Spanish, on the other hand, are absolutely honest about everything. They tell you what they like, they tell you what they don't like. I remember when I first opened, I had sushi on the menu, which was very unusual at that time. And I went into the dining room and I said to people, "So what do you think of the sushi?" And the customers, who were all Spanish, said, "Oh, it was awful. It was raw fish." Actually, I think I prefer that honesty because it helps us to know what people like.
Let's take a look at the patterns used. In this conversation, the woman used the pattern, "What's the best thing about?" What's the best thing about running a restaurant? Come on, let's say it together. What's the best thing about running a restaurant? One more time. What's the best thing about running a restaurant? What's the best thing about is used to ask the most favorable aspect of something. Again, what's the best thing about running a restaurant? The man then used the pattern I think to answer the question. I think the best thing is making people happy. Let's say it together. I think the best thing is making people happy. One more time. I think the best thing is making people happy. If you want to ask somebody's opinion about something, you can also use this pattern. What do you think? What do you think of this sushi? Let's say it together. What do you think of this sushi? Come on, one more time. What do you think of this sushi? Again, what do you think of this sushi? One very common expression used by the man in this conversation is, on the other hand. When asked what he thinks the difference between British and Spanish customers are, he answered, the British say that everything is lovely. The Spanish, on the other hand, are honest. Notice that we use on the other hand to introduce the second of two contrasting points. Let's repeat a sentence. The British say that everything is lovely. The Spanish, on the other hand, are honest. Now, you're almost ready for lesson 2. To further prepare, visit the link below. See you next time!